Greetings, I'm Mike Pachelli. For this lesson, we'll take a look at Pride and Joy as recorded by Stevie Vaughan. It appeared on his first album, Texas Flood, and was written for Stevie's wife. Pride and Joy is perhaps his most famous song, partly due to the fact that it's so infectious to listen to, but also because it's so simple. It's a bar band rock and roll standard. It has an iconic intro that I think is wise to master. Now, Pride and Joy is a basic 12-bar blues in E. Stevie Ray managed to make it his own by creating a tossed-off ghost note strumming pattern. Of note here, much of the solo in Pride and Joy is pretty much the same as the solo in a song I'm Crying. This is actually a technique that was used by guitarists in the 1950s, like when Danny Cedrone played the same solo in Rock Around the Clock that he played in Rock This Joint. Now, I find that fascinating in that a young guitarist can be so secure in his playing that he knows when he's found a jewel. Whether it be a complete solo or licks used, the essence is that he's quoting himself. Now, there's plenty of very useful licks, riffs, and theory in Pride and Joy for you to learn, master, and use in your own songs and solos. Let's take a look at it. All the riffs, licks, and chords are based on eighth note triplets, not straight eighth notes. FYI, let me show you the difference. Here's a straight eighth note. You'd count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 but a triplet is like this. So everything is based on triplets. Now the first bar of the intro starts on beat 2 with unison E's played on the first and second string. So you fret on the B string 5th fret and an open E 1st string, and it starts on 2. So you think 1, 2, and 3, and 4. All right, 1. And the second measure plays 4 beats of a double stop on fret 7 and 8. Looks like this. Fret 7 of the E, fret 8 of the B. And you play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right. And the third measure plays the same lick as the first measure, but for 4 beats. So you play it like back to the first lick, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So those up to there, it's you go 1, 2. And then the last measure plays a little intro lick that sounds like this. And that's on the G string 2nd fret, bent up, bent down, open G, D string 2nd fret, open D. So here's the entire intro. You think 1. And up to speed, sounds like this. Now, after the first 4 bars, Stevie sets up the groove by playing 12 bars of what would normally seem like an ensemble part. But because of his ghost note strumming, this section has a life of its own. First, I'll show you the basic lick, which is played for 8 measures. The lick is like this. Starts on the low E string, open, 3rd fret to the 4th fret, A string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, D string, 2nd fret. Back to the low E, 3rd to 4th, A string, 2nd. So it's. And as of note, is that actually it's more of the 3rd fret, the G note. It's kind of almost implied. So in actuality, it would be like that. Now, as you can see, it's just a simple blues rock bass line played on the guitar. But what makes it unique is Stevie's strumming pattern. Based on 8th note triplets, he repeats the strumming pattern. Now, the pattern is based on these chords. An E chord, like this, from low to high, open, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, open, open. That's the E chord. An A chord from the 5th string, A, open, 2, 2, 2 for an A chord, and an A6, which is nearly the same thing, just bar all the way across. So 5th string open, and then 2, 2, 2, 2. You need an A6 for the accents. Now play that blues rock line and add the muted strings. Sounds like this. As you can see, it's just, if I wouldn't play the bass, I would just be, if I muted the strings, it would just be, just keep that going. 2, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, right? Like that. And you keep that going, and you just play the bass line. And I think you have to be more concerned with the actual bass notes and less concerned with how much of the actual, how many muted strings you go across. You can just get the low ones, like, or whatever, but it's just free and felt, you know. And then you accent the A. A sixth, E. See, and it's done, just practice it very slow, you know. Just get that and put it in. Very easy. All right, and the last 4 bars are based on 2 new chords. A B7, looks like this. We'll go from the 5th string, 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret. That's a B7. And you need an A7 from the 5th string, open, 2nd, 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 3rd. That's the A7. There's a series of licks starting with this double stop for a measure. Now the double stop is G string 4th fret and the B string 3rd fret. And he's going to use this a lot. So it's the double stop 3 times, and then this lick. So it's the double stop, G string 2nd to open, D 2nd to open, A string open, same thing on the D string, that was open 1, 2, open 1, 2, and then 2, 1, open of the A string. Then there's a little slur, A string open to 1st fret, right, to the 3rd fret of the E string, and then A open again, 3rd fret of the E string, 2nd fret of the D, open E. Slowly. Right? Then this 2-bar lick ending with the same double stop, and he uses this a lot. Like. Right? So it's the double stop. Back to G string 2nd fret, open. D string 2nd open. A low G, 3rd fret, E string. A, 1st fret, 2nd fret. Right? And that's the finishing tag. So it's. So here's the intro part 2, first nice and slow, and then up to speed. Now play it to you at full speed. During the verse, Stevie plays just the second part of the eighth note triplets to accompany his singing. The bass guitar handles the walking line, and Stevie mutes the actual chords a bit less. It should sound like this. So we're just E. So I'm thinking one ta 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 ta, right? Right? And he uses a bit of the bass line to get to the 4 chord. When it goes to the A, like put a little. So from the E. Right? You got, so it's just freely upstroked on the top part of the triplet, and then he returns playing chords until bar 11, where he plays kind of the same lick as the beginning. It's like the end. It's the end half of the ending of the intro, and that's the double stop. Right? Then again, 3rd string, 2nd fret, open, 4th fret, 2nd string open, and then to get to a G, 6th fret, 6th string, 3rd fret, 5th string open, 1st fret, and so. And sometimes you listen to the record, he's playing 2 A's, like, or 2 B flats, but it's basically. Right? So here's an entire verse, nice and slow. It's a lot easier to get when I play the verse, probably. Sounds like this. Now up to speed. Verse 2 is nearly identical to verse 1, except for there's a variation in the lick in measure 11-12. Instead of going, he kind of arpeggiates it. He plays it same 3rd string, same voicing, 3rd string, 4th, 2nd string, 3rd, and then an open E. Instead of going, he goes, like, or sometimes he'll do it like that, you'll hear. That's the only difference. And I didn't mention earlier about on the A, tagging with the A7s. Sweet little thing, tags. But I'll play a verse now. I'll play verse 2, and I'll make sure I get that in there. First, nice and slow, verse 2. And here is up to speed. After verse 2 comes a traditional blues breakdown stop during the first 4 measures, just on an E chord. So it just goes, and then a little bend again on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, bend up, bend it down, open 3rd, 4th, 2nd. So, 2, 3. slowly. And the song continues just like a verse, and it ends with nearly the same lick as the second verse. So after the breakdown. The first three measures of the solo start with the same double stop shape Stevie Ray used earlier, but this time played on frets 12 and 15. So it looks like this. Third string, fret 13, and the second string, fret 12. Move that up 3 frets to 15 on the second and 16 on the third. And it sounds like this. Right? And then bar 4 is a no-holds-barred bending rock and roll feast. Look like this. So starting on the third string 14th, bent to touch 12 of 2 and 1. Then 15 of 2 and 12 of 1. Right? Kind of played together, like kind of just noisy rock, right? Bars 5 and 8 are pure feel on an E pentatonic scale with some cool bending of an A note, 14th fret of the G string, and a very fast slide back down to first position. So it's so let me show it to you. We went. Now we're on the first string, 15, 12. Second string, 15, 12. Third string, 14. Bent up and bend a couple times. 12th of the third string. 14th of the fourth. So, all right. And then a little slur, which is 12th fret of the third, 14 of the fourth, 12th of the fourth, 14th of the fifth. And then a traditional rock and roll lick, right, which is the third string 14th bent up, 12, 12 of the second first. Right, and then slides down to first position, bends at the second fret of the third string. So again, right, and then bars 9 and 10 are sort of a Carl Perkins-ish arpeggiation from B7 to A7. Playing the B7 chord. So open 5th, 1st, 2nd. And in bars 11 and 12 finish with another rhythmic variation of Stevie's chosen turnaround and ends with 2 new chords. Those chords are C9, which looks like this. So from the 5th string to the 1st string, 5th, we go 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. That's C9. And if you move that down a half step, from the 5th string, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, that's B9. So that bar 11 goes 11 and 12. Same kind of a turnaround. Okay? So here's the entire solo part 1. First, I'll do it nice and slow. Now I'll do it up to speed. The first four measures of the second half of the solo pay homage to the intro, expanding on it and turning up the heat. Starts off like this. So that's the same, just like the intro. Fifth fret of the second string and open first string to the double stop on the eighth fret of the second, and the seventh fret of the first. And he plays a little, which is that he's used it before earlier in the song, which is a third string second fret, bent up, bent down, open to third fret of the fourth. So that again is back to just a little rhythmic variation. So again. On measure 5, Stevie uses that same double stop fingering, but this time over an A7 chord. So he finishes in measure 8 with a few traditional E7 moves. So the double stop is up here now on the 8th fret of the second string and the 9th fret of the third string over the A7. Now here's some traditional licks. So like 4th string second fret, third string third fret, hammer on the third string first fret, then first string third fret, open, second string third, open, second string second, open, slide up to the fourth of the third string, third fret of the second, back down, slide down to second, open. And then open, open first, third of the second, open, and a little slur again, third, open. Right? So that whole line, let's see here, from the A. Isn't that great? From the A. All right. And at the B7 chord comes another arpeggio that finishes with an E pentatonic riff over the A7 chord in measure 10. So again, 5th string open, first fret to B7, and that lick is first string third, open, second third open, third string second to open, back to our double stop, slide up from the second to the fourth, third of the second, that was down to the second fret of the third, open third, E, then our regular ending, which is the 6th string 3, second open. Here's the entire solo, part 2, first nice and slow. Now I'll do it up to tempo. Next comes a nearly identical breakdown verse and then a last verse. Now, after that, there's a wonderful ending solo. The first 4 bars use the same double stop figure played on the 3rd to the 5th to the 12th to the 15th fret. And when I say that, I'm meaning that here's a double stop, and I'm thinking this is the 3rd fret to the 5th fret to the 12th to the 15th. So that's the first 4 measures. It's like, and always getting that open E string too, by the way, so it rings out. It's just triplets. And measure 5 and 6 have some creative double stops based on an E minor that work well over the A7 chord and end up on an otherworldly bend. It looks like this. So that's just double stops. We're on the 3rd and 2nd string, 14th fret, 12th. Then on the 4th and 3rd string. All right, see that? Then go up. Slowly, 12. I'm sorry, 14. 12. 14 of the 4th and 3rd string. 12. 14. Slur into the 15. All right, isn't that nice? And then a rock and roll bend, which is a third string 14th to the 12, 12 of 2nd, 1st, and bend the 15th of the 1st. Measures 7 and 8 settle into common E pentatonic licks like this. So that's 12th fret of the 1st string, 15 of the 2nd, 12th of the 2nd, 14th of the 3rd, 12th of the 3rd, and then back up, 14, 12, 12 of the 3rd, 14, 12, ending on 14 of the 5. Right? And then over the B7 chord in measures 9 and 10, Stevie plays this. Very Hendrix-like, right? Again, 12th fret, 14th fret, 3rd string, 2 12s, 2 and 1, 14 of the 2nd, 12 of the 1st, 14th of the 1st, 12th of the 1st, 15 of the 2nd, 12 of the 3rd, 14th of the 3rd. All right, and then the song ends with a lick, one more lick, and then a really cool ending lick. Same kind of bend. So that last line is 14th fret of the 3rd bent, up, 12, 12, 2nd 1, 15, 2, 12, 2, 14, then 14 and 15 of 3 and 2, bend the 14 up, down, 12 of the 3rd, 14 of the 4th, 12 of the 4th. So that whole part is. And then the very last lick. And that is 3rd fret of the 1st string, open, 2nd fret 3, open 1st, 2nd of the 3rd, open. Wait. That's 2, 4 of the 4th string. 2 open, I should say. And then 2 new chords you need to play the ending, which is first is E flat 7 raised 9, which looks like this. We'll go from 5th string to 2nd. We got 6, 5, 6, 7. That's E flat 7th raised 9. Slide that up. And you get E raised 9, which is from the 5th string, 7, 6, 7, 8. That last lick. I'm sorry. When he hits a low E. So here's the entire ending solo. Nice and slow first. And here it is up to speed. To try and emulate Stevie Ray's talent is no easy task. Truth be told, to even get close to his ferocity is very difficult. My advice is to listen to the recording and play along with it as many times as you can. And to try and get his feel. It's not necessary to mimic every nuance. Stevie plays the licks slightly different every time anyway. But to try and get the emotion into your fingers, there's a reckless abandon to his playing, sort of like, is he gonna make it, that makes his guitar work so noteworthy. Now, I had the pleasure of hanging out with Stevie Ray in 1989. There's a video interview I did with him posted on my website at mikepachelli.com that you may find interesting. He was quite complimentary to me about my playing and encouraged me to add my own style when playing his songs. So that's what I would encourage you to do also. Play it in the style of Stevie Ray, but most importantly, play it like you. I'll attempt to play Pride and Joy and pay homage to Stevie Ray's virtuosity. Forgive me if I stray a bit and add a little of myself. That makes it fun. And like I always say, having fun is what playing the guitar should be all about. I've created a loop to have a bit of accompaniment during the solos, and I'm going to do an abridged version. The intro, a verse, breakdown, then solo 1, solo 2, and the ending solo. If you have any questions or would like to drop me a note, do so at mikepachelli.com. It's always cool to hear from you, and I answer every email. So until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.